Octane, Dominus, Fennec, Merc, Scarab, Breakout, Endo, Batmobile, Battle Bus. There are so many cars in this game. How are you supposed to know which one is the best for you? Well, it's the Battle Bus. Okay, now for most of my Rocket League career, this car has been my baby, and I really play the best when I'm using this car. However, this obviously doesn't apply to everyone. I mean, there's like over 100 cars in this game, and because there's so many freaking cars, I decided to branch out and play with every single hitbox for 10 hours each in-game, so I could accurately describe the benefits and downsides of each hitbox so you can best decide which car you want to use. I also played with variations in each hitbox like the Octane and Fennec for the Octane hitbox, yada yada yada, but yeah, make sure to drop a like and subscribe because I want to keep making great content for you guys and your support keeps me going for real. Okay, enough intro, time for the video. Now, the Dominus hitbox includes a wide array of cars such as the Dominus, DeLorean, Lamborghini, and the NASCAR cars. Going into play with this hitbox, I really try to make myself enjoy playing with it. Every single time I've tried this hitbox out before, it just felt really uncomfortable, and I really didn't understand why people even liked playing with this. To me, it just felt like playing with a giant door frame with rocket boosters attached. However, once I actually got used to the different ways to play this car, I realized how cracked this can actually be. The Dominus hitbox is best used for mechanically focused players. This means platinum players should not use this car. If you're the type of player who really likes going for flashy mechanics like dribbles, flicks, air dribbles, musties, or even flip resets, then this is the hitbox for you. The Dominus hitbox is way easier to do these mechanics because since it's so flat, the ball glides off your car insanely well, and it's a lot easier to keep the ball on top of your car. Because this hitbox is also longer than most, the ball is able to roll in such a way that your flicks will literally break the sound barrier with how hard you can whip it. I also noticed that I tended to try and go for flashy mechanics more often while playing with this car. I don't know if it's like the Mandela effect or something, but I low-key felt like a freestyler while using it. However, this hitbox definitely has some drawbacks. Since it's so flat, it's a lot harder to generate power on shots because there's such a narrow window to hit the ball with your nose. This means players using this car will end up spending a lot more time practicing power shots and aerials because it's a lot more difficult to become consistent at these with this car. Now, the hybrid hitbox includes cars such as the Endo, X-Devil, Skyline, and the Venom, and honestly, this is the most underrated hitbox in the game. This hitbox feels so amazing to play with and combines a lot of the good traits of the other hitboxes into one car. Basically, this hitbox is a little flatter and longer than the Octane hitbox, but boxier than the Dominus hitbox, hence the hybrid name. For players not looking to flat out freestyle but also want a little bit more control with the ball than the Octane, this hitbox is perfect. Playing with cars like the Venom feels like a complete refresh to this game. I can hit clips super easily with this car, but I'm still able to get the control and competitive viability that I love. I noticed that while playing, my motions with this hitbox felt a lot more fluid than most of the other hitboxes, and I was able to adjust more quickly in the air. Flicks feel very consistent, and you're able to get a decent amount of power on your shots. Turning is also a lot quicker with this hitbox as opposed to others. However, probably the biggest downside with this hitbox is that a lot of the cars don't exactly line up with the hitbox, so sometimes the ball kind of looks like it's levitating off your nose. This makes it kind of difficult to gauge where you should be making contact with the ball because you don't exactly know where your corners are. Overall though, this hitbox is a beast, and you should definitely give this hitbox a try if you haven't already. The Breakout hitbox is a pretty obscure hitbox that contains cars like the Breakout, Animus GP, and the Nexus. I'm not gonna lie, I actually hated playing with this hitbox. I don't know why, but I was just really not compatible with the cars I had to use. For 10 hours, I forced myself to endure brain rot because of how janky this felt. Kickoffs were really weak with this car, and it just felt too small overall. The hitbox is essentially the same length as the Octane, but flatter, so I felt like I was playing with a napkin. Dribbling is not too bad with this car, but because the car isn't that long, flicks can be very hard to time and difficult to master. Generating power with this hitbox was also inconsistent to me, and I got the impression that this car has the same problem with the Dominus hitbox, where you have to hit it perfectly just to get some power behind your shots. However, I can't just completely trash on this hitbox because that would be unfair to you guys, and there are actually some reasons why you might want to use this hitbox. The Breakout hitbox is the best hitbox in the game for one mechanic specifically: air dribbles. It's literally insane how the ball is able to just stick on top of your car so easily while doing air dribbles with this hitbox. I mean, the world record for the longest air dribble ever is with the Breakout. If you're just starting out air dribbles or really enjoy doing them, trying out this hitbox is a great way to see improvement almost instantly. The Octane, the fan favorite of the hitboxes. The Octane hitbox is the most cars in it out of every hitbox. It's got the Octane, Fennec, Takumi, Marauder, Roadhog. A lot of cars use this hitbox. However, why is this specific hitbox so popular as compared to other hitboxes? Well, it all has to do with the fact that in my opinion, this is the best hitbox to use for competitive play. All around, this hitbox checks the most boxes you need in order to be successful in competitive games. Since it's naturally a little bit boxier than hitboxes like the Dominus and the Plank, it allows you to generate a lot more power with your hits a lot easier. Hitting the ball with your corners and nose is really consistent for generating lots of power with this hitbox because of how clear the dimensions of your car are. You're going to be able to do pretty much everything well with this hitbox. It's very good for flicks, very good for air dribbles, very good for power shots, good for aerials, every single mechanic it's good at. The biggest downside this hitbox has, however, is that it's fairly short compared to the other hitboxes. This means you're going to have a little bit of a harder time reaching balls that you could have easily gotten to with the Dominus per se. Now, through playing with the different variations of this hitbox, I actually found that the Fennec was more accurate to the actual hitbox of the car than the Octane. Since the Fennec has a boxier look, the front of the car lines up way better with the actual hitbox, so it's a lot easier to tell where the ball will bounce off the car exactly. However, playing with the Fennec automatically makes you a worse person overall, and anyone who plays with it is just bad at the game, to be honest. Now, if you don't have enough credits for the Fennec but want to try something similar, the Marauder is a great Walmart version. It uses the Octane hitbox and is also rectangular, meaning it's very accurate to how the actual hitbox plays in-game. I actually mained this car for a while because of how good it felt to use in-game, and I also just hated the Fennec. Overall though, I mean, there's a reason this is by far the most used hitbox in pro play. The competitive viability of this hitbox is just so much higher than any other car, and you're also able to do freestyle mechanics relatively well. The Plank hitbox includes cars like the Batmobile, Mantis, and Paladin. This is low-key my least favorite hitbox. Think of this hitbox as like the Dominus hitbox times 10. It's like almost two-dimensional. It is by far the flattest hitbox out of any of the cars in Rocket League, which makes it really strange to play with. For this hitbox especially, you're gonna want to spend lots of time practicing how to actually hit the ball with any type of power. I spent so much time trying to figure out how to contort my car in training to be able to hit the ball above 60 kilometers per hour. However, the most redeeming quality about this hitbox is that it is the longest hitbox out of any car in the game. This means you'll be able to reach balls slightly quicker and hit balls you wouldn't have been able to hit with other cars. Another benefit that this car has over the other hitboxes is the absolute flickage you can generate with this car. Because the car is so long and flat, the ball has an infinite time to roll across your car and generate enough speed to be whipped as fast as possible to the net. Flicks and musties are actually insane with this car, which makes it a really good option for players who like to freestyle. Overall, this hitbox is best for players who want to be extra flashy and don't mind giving up competitive viability in their gameplay. And finally, the Merc hitbox. This hitbox only has two cars, the Merc and the Battle Bus. This is basically just the car you tell your little brother to use because he can't hit the ball properly, so he just boosts around the map hunting people down like a madman. But like, actually, it's not that bad. It's really boxy, so it's hard to control the ball well, and you can't really have any type of finesse in your playstyle. Unless you really know what you're doing, it's hard to generate power on flicks and do a lot of the advanced mechanics. I mean, there's a reason that pretty much no pro player uses this hitbox. However, this car does actually have a decent amount of things going for it. Because it's literally a square, 50-50s are no longer 50-50s. There are 100 zeros with the Merc hitbox. There's so much surface area for the ball to bounce off at the front, so it's insanely easy to win 50-50s with this car. This also means it's really good at kickoffs, so if you have a solid enough strategy, you can win games only off of kickoffs with this car. Since the surface area of the front is so large, it's also pretty easy to generate lots of power with this hitbox. Aerials are pretty good with this car as well. Now, there's one mechanic that the Merc is perfect for. One mechanic that every Merc player must perfect. Demolitions. The Merc hitbox is the single best hitbox to use to mercilessly destroy your opponents with demos. Since it's so large, it's way easier to catch players and demo them, as opposed to the Dominus or Batmobile where you have the potential to slip past them. The Merc is quite literally like a bulldozer, and if you know how to properly demo someone, you can easily cause your opponents to straight up rage quit out of desperation.
Alterix on me, no, we don't run no Patagonia. Alterix on me.
The unfortunate reality is, since that almost all of Rocket League players just use these three cars have the most customization options by far. One crucial aspect of your car choice that a lot of players don't really consider going into it is that you want to be able to customize your car how you want it. You want to be able to enjoy looking at your car while playing, because if you just hate the way it looks or it gets boring, you're just gonna end up changing your car anyways. Because of this, you want to choose cars that you feel have the customization options you want, whether that be the default decals you get with each car or black markets that look good with that car. Overall though, by far the most important factor for deciding which car to choose in your Rocket League journey is how you personally feel about the car. I've given you guys a nice outline of what each hitbox entails and which playstyle suits certain hitboxes better, but you ultimately are just gonna have to try some cars out yourselves. However, yeah, I'll tell you guys. Okay, if you guys want to know the actual overall best car you should be using in this game, all you gotta do is one simple thing.